Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be joined by Caroline England. I should set my name back to Caroline, shouldn't I? So it says Caroline on both.
Yeah. Or I could have been Kaz, then we could have both been Kaz.
True. Do you want to start us off with an introduction to yourself and your books?
Okay, yeah. So I'm Caroline England, author, and I'm also C.E. Rose. And I write, I think The Attic of Wilton Place has just come out. And I think that is my ninth book, I think. But is it my ninth? Yeah, it was my 11th published book, or even my 13th published book, if you include the short stories. But I did have two Carol Land books that I've sort of shelved for now. So I think we're on 9 after all that. And yeah, so, and they're all sort of domestic suspense, stroke psychological thrillers, stroke gothic suspense. Although the C.E. Rose ones are the ones with the more gothic-y touch feel to it. They're not wholly gothic, but they've got that tinge of it. Is that what you wanted to know? You know me, I'll end up rabbiting and not answering the question as usual.
we like rabbiting, it's great. Why the 3 different names?
Well, that's quite simple. Just it's 3 different publishers. So I started out as Caroline England, and I started, my first 2 were with HarperCollins, and because they sort of wanted the brand, if you like, and I had more books to offer than, because obviously a publisher like HarperCollins, and then I went on to Little Brown, they basically do the traditional way, it's about it 1 a year, and I've got more books because I've been writing before. I sort of got a backlog that I wanted to see out there. So then so I needed a different publisher, and I needed a pen name. So I went then for, I think people have heard me say before, it was Caro Land, the 2 ends of my name, and but they've been put on one side for now. And so then again, I had spare books. So then I signed up with Hera, who are brilliant, and they're a smaller publisher, but that, you know, it's run by Kashini and she's brilliant. So I need another name. So it's C.E. Rose. So the C.E. is obviously Caroline England, and the Rose is because my sister was called Rose and my daughter's middle name is Rose, and I thought it was quite a good name. I think Rose sort of feels a bit in the gothic-y thing as well, or maybe that's just my imagination.
So Mel Pittman's watching and she said that you're her fave person.
Oh, she's lovely, Mel. Hi,
Mel, hope you're okay. And Sam has said hello. Lovely to see us both.
Hi, Sam. How are you doing?
I'm going to go see Sam soon. It's very exciting.
Oh, what are you 2 going to get up to?
Mischief.
Well, I certainly hope so. That'll be fun.
Probably just planning events.
Yeah, but still, you'll be able to do some mischief in the middle.
We will, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. That's nice. So I'll when the evening news has a headline of, you know, some disgraceful behaviour, and I'll know it's not you, Kaz. I'll know it's that Sam. She's the bad influence.
We'll say that. It wouldn't be true.
Oh, I've just seen Sam's put. I hope I bring my Natalie Batch books one day. They were the Caro Land books, and I wrote 2, and they were a feisty legal eagle, and obviously I was once a feisty legal eagle, so they came quite quick. I enjoyed doing them, even though the law changes, and I've not practiced as a solicitor for a while now. But so maybe one day, yes, yeah.
I know Sam will have her fingers crossed for that because they are.
Yeah.
She wouldn't shut up about them when she read them.
Yeah, oh, thank you, Sam. That's lovely. Yeah.
She's a big fan. So The Attic at Wilton Place. Tell us a bit more about that, because that's the one that's out most recently.
It is, yeah. So here it is. It was only out yesterday. So thank you very much for inviting me. And this is my launch party, which is why I've got to say cheers. Happy publication day, even if it is a day late. And yeah, so here it is. C.E. Rose, The Attic at Wilton Place. And this one, again, it's a gothic suspense, I'd describe it. And it follows it's narrated by Ruth, and it follows Ruth's journey, if you like. and she feels unloved by her mum, who's a critical sort of mother. She feels she can never do anything right. And when her aunt Vanessa, who is her mum's close friend from childhood, shows an interest in her, she's just smitten. And obviously, she has that need to be loved and for someone to pay her attention, everything. And so we sort of follow that journey between the relationship between Ruth and Aunt Vanessa. And as in all my books, is everything exactly what it seems to be? Or are there all sorts of things going under the surface that you gradually sort of, you get that creepy feeling that what really is going on? And so you follow Ruth's journey, and there are lots of, as usual, lots of secrets, lots of things going on. Some you might expect, some you might not expect. And by the end, I tie it all up so you know exactly what went on. So it's another, yeah, it's another mystery, suspensey, with a psychologically thriller thingy as well.
Before I ask you some questions about that, Mel is saying that she needs to get a signed copy. How do people go around getting a signed copy
That's a
of
bit
your book?
tricky, yeah. That's a bit tricky, really, because I can't think of any events I'm doing at the moment for signed copies. But I'll be at Crime Fest if anyone's at Crime Fest, and I'll be at Harrogate if anyone's at Harrogate. And we'll just have to get you and Sam to do another event and invite me,
We
and then
will
I can
do
sign
more,
copies.
hopefully we will do more. If this one goes
Yeah,
well, we will do more.
yeah. So yeah, I know it's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? But yeah, because Mel's great. She's got lots of lovely signed copies. And you'll have to get Dan to do another event as well, because Dan's great at letting Mel have books. So,
Exactly. Crime Fest in Bristol, Mel.
yes.
I saw the answer and I could answer that one.
Yeah.
Harrogate, I would imagine, I think both me and Sam might be at Harrogate this year.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're both fun. Because Crime Fest, I suppose Bristol is quite a way away if you're in the north, and, it's a shame really that we can't squash the country up a bit and make it.
The trouble for me with them is that they're often start midweek,
Yeah.
and if you're a teacher, you can't really,
Yeah. But you
you
could
can't
come on
really
because, for example, well, Harrogate and Crime Fest, they start on a Thursday, don't they? And they go, but you could come on the Friday evening. And that, when a lot of people, I think, do come on the Friday evening. But I think I'm on a panel, and I think that's on the Friday. Um, but at the moment, it's quite a good time, because you was worried the night before if you have too much to drink. Will I be all right for the panel? But this time I'm just on the panel answering questions, whereas last year I was the moderator, and that's really quite a big ask, because you obviously have to read all the books, which I do anyway, but and ask all the questions and hopefully engage the audience. So I'm glad I'm not under that pressure this time, and I
yeah,
can get drunk the night before. Sorry, yeah.
it's quite tricky, I think, isn't it? Especially if you're sort of just hosting the panel strip like on the stage with lots of people watching. Quite tricky.
Well,
Um,
you and Sam know asking the questions. Although you two are brilliant, you've got a lot of really good questions.
it's just a lot of interviews.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously you've got to tailor them, haven't you, to the individual. You can't ask us all the same questions. Well, you sort of can actually, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you can ask some similar ones. We're gonna
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
you some of like our new favourite ones later. Um,
Oh, I'm nervous
Donna said
already.
Donna said hello, Caroline Squared.
Oh, hi.
I borrowed that from school. I've got some classes that have got two students with the same name in, and I just call them that name squared.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like being part of a square. Is it? Does it have a little two on the top? So is it Kaz with a little one of those? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it works. Daniel McBreakneck said hello.
Hi. How
And
you
so
doing?
lovely. Daniel, Caroline's saying you all need to organise another event.
Yes. It was so good. The Wigan event was brilliant, and Dan is just a brilliant support as well. And I met him when we were at Lee Library, so that was fun as well. So I think there's going to be another Lee Library event, but that's not till November, I don't think. So that's a while away.
That looks amazing because there was like Kate Ellis and all sorts of other amazing
Yeah,
like
yeah. Because Kate
people
actually
there.
is a friend of mine. She lives just down the road, so it's nice. Yeah, and she's written so many books. It's amazing. Yeah, so it was a good. I thought that there was a great turnout of authors, but not that many people.
Oh, I
So
don't
we all
even
got a chance to chat, so that was
I don't
fine.
even know how I would get to Lee, but I love the people who were there, like you and Kate. Your books were
Yeah, there
both
was Paul
great.
Finch, wasn't there? Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Paul Finch is lovely.
yeah, yeah, and who else was there? There was Samantha Tonge was there. Roger. Roger. I always call him Roger. I can never remember his surname. But anyway, Roger.
There you
And
go.
Roger's on the TV at the moment doing some sort of true crimey thing. So
Oh, cool. Donna said there were a lot of Donnas when she was at school. There was never I honestly didn't meet any Carolines until I was a lot older.
well, it's because we're special.
Yeah,
What can you
there's
say?
not
You know, sweet Caroline. Yeah.
there's not that many of us around, is there? Um, Sam says Lee's close to her, so I could go to hers and we'll go from there.
Oh right. Good. Let's do that.
And she thinks it's Roger Price.
Yes. Yes. He's lovely. Yeah. I always feel bad when I got, but I'm really bad on names. So as long as I get half of it, I'm doing well.
So back to the attic at Wilton Place, because that was
Yes.
a much bigger detour than I intended it to be. Vanessa, you know, you're saying that she sort of steps in and becomes like almost a mother figure, doesn't she? Or the not the mother figure, but because she's not very mothery, but like the like kind of female that she looks up to.
Yeah.
She is
Role
very
model. Yeah.
glamorous, isn't she?
Yes. Yes. I
Um,
mean, yeah, she's obviously very charismatic and yeah, charming. And I mean, it would be nice. Read the book and find out what the relationship really means. But it would be great to have an Aunt Vanessa, wouldn't it? Buying you Jimmy Choo shoes. I can't say it, and clothes, and the luxury, and a swimming pool and a sauna down in the basement. That'd be okay, wouldn't it?
were
No.
you writing it thinking I want an Aunt Vanessa? Um, yeah, it's a hard one. It's a bit like The Sinner. It's kind of hard to ask you questions about without thinking I can't ask this because
Yeah, yeah,
I'm going to give something away. It is it kind of has that same feel as well of like quite a slow build. Like you have to get to know the characters and
yeah,
work out where
yeah.
the kind of wrong bits are.
Yeah. I think with all my stuff, I think, sort of my fan base, all two of them, no,
Even
they
more
because
than
they
two.
know my style of writing and they know that it's maybe going to be a slow burn. You get to know the characters, but I want you to be invested in those characters, whether you like them or not. And so then it's you've got that emotional input for when I do horrible things to them or whatever, or discover they're not all that they seem. And yeah, and but the clues are all there. It's all very subtle. And that feeling, hopefully that feeling of tension throughout, where you feel what actually is going on. This doesn't feel quite right. Whereas so I hope it's all sort of tingling a bit, thinking, let's carry on reading to find out.
I think it's kind of interesting when you've read it or you're getting near the end and you think you might know what happens to look back and see as
Yeah,
well where
yeah,
things have
yeah. Because famously, they say Agatha Christie did that, didn't they? That she wrote a book, then she'd go back and feed in clues afterwards.
really.
Yeah, someone's told me that. I mean, I try and do it as I'm going along, but I think sometimes when you do come back to it again, you just maybe put because it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think as a writer, you're in your little, cocoon, and you know exactly what's going on, and it isn't until it gets into the hands of a beta reader or an editor or whatever, where they will say, "No, you've been too subtle." I'm always so desperate not to. I want to surprise people, so I'm always so desperate not to give anything away. Sometimes maybe but the editors will go, "No, no, you need to ease off. Don't worry, it's not that obvious." And some clues are obvious, a little bit obvious. because obviously you want to give your readers a little bit, don't you? Because readers, I love it when I read a book. I'm going, oh, I know what's going to happen. And it's quite good fun when you're wrong, isn't it? You know, when
I'm
you
nearly always
blindside and think, oh, didn't see that. Yeah. So
I never get them.
there's,
It's not a thing. I can never do them. So, Mel, it was Mel. Mel said it would be really cool to sit with an author and watch them in action.
it'd be really boring.
I think it'd be either really boring or like a weirdly creepy kind of Truman Show. Do you know the Norwegian slow TV? Have you heard of that?
No.
Where they do there's a thing in Norway where they do things like shear a sheep and then spin the wool and then knit a jumper, and it's all done in real time. Or they did the whole like the train ride from Oslo to Bergen, and the whole like cruise up the fjords, and it's just like the whole thing in real time on TV.
Wow.
So it takes hours to watch one thing. You could do something like that, put an author on TV and just watch them write a book. But it might be a bit creepy.
Well, it would, but it could be quite. I'm willing to do it if there are any TV producers out there. But it would be quite interesting to, like, I've been watching that program. I don't know if anyone's watched it, called Parole, and it's been really good. And for some reason, the latest episode's disappeared. But it's about the parole board and whatnot, and obviously the crime. So you meet the criminal, and then you meet you know, the parole people, and then you and then you find out the verdict at the end. But obviously they can't do the whole hearing, because they go, the hearing is now 2.5 hours long. But if they did that in the life of an author, like snatchers of filming, you see doing it and having inspiration and going, oh yeah, yeah. But that's normally in the bath that happens to me. So maybe I don't really want that bit in. You know, the camera's in there. I'd have to have discreet use of a sponge and a flannel. But it would be interesting, wouldn't it, to have someone to chat to the screen and go, oh, I just can't think where I'm going here with it. It's driving me nuts. Or yes, I'm on a roll. I know where I'm going. Or so yes, good idea. Let's do it.
Sam's saying in response to that, it'd take her a couple of days to choose a notebook. You'd be felt like
Yeah.
years waiting for a short story.
Yeah, I'm like that as well.
It's wild, but when you're doing sort of thinking about you were saying like Agatha Christie goes back and hides clues. Do you have like the clues or the sort of, I don't know that there's not really clues in the same way as there in the Attic and Moulton Place, but do you have like this sort of key events planned out and where you're going to hide them?
No, not really. It's I think I've said this before about how I'm a pantser rather than a plotter. So I'm trying to think what, but I'm trying to think what the Attic at Wilton Place is about and what the things were. But generally, I have just something takes my fancy. Something things. Oh right, yeah, I like that. Just one little thing that I think I'll write about that, and then you need to obviously add to it a bit. So I have a few things where I think that would be interesting to write about. And I might have the ending, but normally I might have a few twists, sort of just mulling in my head, and I just think about it, and then I just go off and write it. And I think a lot of the things that so which is why it'd be good TV when I go, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. Because I think a lot of the things, the twists and whatnot, it's like my imagination's, once I put my fingers on the keypad, it's sort of taking me in a direction that I think I didn't know I was going that way. So yeah, it's weird. I would love to be a plotter, because you know, people who say they have a notice board and all the chapters planned out. I mean, that would make life a lot easier. But yeah,
It'd be good for the TV crew as well, wouldn't it? Because they'd have something to film
yeah,
in between.
that's it. I know. I mean, do I have to make the TV crew cups of tea? Do I have to give them biscuits? You know, what where are they going to sleep?
Maybe they have to bring you biscuits. I think this should be a new thing. So we had a TV crew in school recently and they bought us biscuits.
Ah. Oh, well, bring it on.
So they're the ones that you want. You want the ones that come with biscuits.
What were they doing in your school? Were they just...
Well, this is why there were biscuits. One of my students made an automatic biscuit dunker out of Lego. So it's powered to dunk the biscuit into tea at different depths and different amounts of dunks and
How
different
old is
times.
this student?
And then it delivers the biscuit to you when it's like completely perfectly done, safely out the tea. And he won an award for it, and then it got on the news because it's
Ah, right.
kind of cute and nice.
How old is this student?
14.
Oh, God, he's going to be like a James Dyson or something of the future, isn't he?
Yeah, but then the TV guy who brought them in bought biscuits, and we were like, "You can come again." We like this.
Well, they're good biscuits though, because I'm quite fussy about. I won't eat any old biscuit.
They were okay. Yeah. So well, the kids just, I mean, the kids will eat any biscuit.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Sam said, and this is good because I was just going to ask you about the issues that you write in your book because you kind of pick some quite interesting issues to sort of take on, don't you, in them? But Sam says, is there any reality used in your books or is it complete imagination?
Yeah, there's always a bit of reality, isn't there? I think with all of them, there's something someone might have told you or your own experience. I mean, obviously, you do use a lot of your own life, um, not necessarily events, but maybe emotions and all that sort of thing. But yeah, a little bit. I mean, in the attic in Wilson Play, the attic. I'm trying to think again. In that particular one, was there anything? But sometimes, yes, you do. But obviously, you have to disguise it if you do, because you can't in fiction. But like I think I've said before, in Betray Her, that was the boarding school situation, and an awful boarding school where deprivation and all sorts of horrible things going on, including between pupils and teachers. That was big chunks of that was autobiographical. Oh, I can't say it, but yeah. So that was other aspects, obviously, like my Natalie Batch books. Some bits were I will have sort of manipulated slightly from the law, and I think all my books do have a little bit. And the House on the Water's Edge, the C.E. Rose one, that again had a lot of me in it. So they all do a little bit, but yeah, that disguise. I'm not really admitting to all those things.
How do you decide that you're going to sort of take on like an issue or something in your books? How do you decide like how to handle some of the things that you talk about? Because
Well,
you
you have.
handle them really well in the books, but how is there sort of things that put you off of doing that, or is there how easy is it to do?
Well, I think you have to. If there are all sorts of issues, aren't there, in life for us all, and so you've got to sort of handle them carefully, haven't you, and sort of with respect, because you don't because everyone suffers from something or other. So I think you've just got to do your research if you don't know it personally, and treat the issues kindly and delicately within the context of the story, because at the end of the day they are fiction. But I think some areas I wouldn't sort of I some things I don't feel equipped to deal with. I don't think, it wouldn't be fair for me to. So I think I'd need a bit of knowledge about it, either personal knowledge or someone, So I think all the things I touch on that are issues, I like to think that I've got a bit of close experience, if you like, or at least I've done my research properly. But I've never murdered anyone yet.
Yeah,
That I'm admitting to.
but then you've written a lot of crime books, and you said you put things that you've done in real life. So
Yeah.
how can we know for sure?
Well, I know. Well, you can't. And obviously, I'm not going to admit it tonight, but I'll tell you later.
So what did you do? Because it came out yesterday, the book. Did you have a celebration yesterday?
Not really. Which is why I've got my glass of fizz today. No, yesterday I had my next Caroline England book comes out on the 3rd of August, and it's called The Stranger Beside Me. And obviously that follows on from The Sinner. It's not follows on in terms of it's my next book. They're not connected. And the proofreader had done her job. And normally when you get to the proofreader, it's sort of just a few typos and that type of thing. and maybe a few commas and whatnot. And it was this like about 10-page document. And so that's what I was doing yesterday. I was going through this document thinking, oh, but I was taking the view, I was getting a little bit frustrated, and I have a little WhatsApp group with a few other authors, and I'm going, "Ah, this isn't the proofreader's job." But having said that, it makes the book better. It was, the things she was querying. And then after me sort of being rude and going, why is she asking this? The editor at Little Brown came back and said, "Oh, by the way, the proofreader said this about the book." And she said how she thought it was a fabulous book, and she was absolutely enthralled and thought it was brilliant. So I felt really bad after that. So that's what I was doing in the morning. Then obviously the afternoon, it's all that retweeting and whatnot. And then I went to my local bookstore and signed the copies. That they're brilliant in Didsbury. It's called Morton's, and they always stock my books and make a special fuss. So that was basically it. And I was going to have a bottle of fizz with my daughter when she came home from work, and she just went out after work, and so I felt I couldn't really have a whole bottle. So that was it.
It's still like pleasant. Do you I think it's also, I think it's quite a natural reaction, isn't it? If people say something about your work, for your first reaction to be a bit like, "Urgh."
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's because yeah, I think generally, I mean, you have to, the whole editorial process, it's to make your book better, even though sometimes it's a nightmare. We've discussed it before about how it's like a block of Jenga, and you've written a book with your characters and your plot and everything, and then sometimes editors will come in and tell you to take a piece of the Jenga block out, and it makes the whole thing collapse because that is a vital bit of the story. So it can be a bit frustrating, but obviously it's done with, I think it's all been fine. Everyone, all of the editors I've had so far, it's been all for the best. So, and I think reviews as well, you get some good reviews, you get some bad reviews, and generally I do take them on the chin, because I just think not everyone's going to like your book. It'd be great if they did, but not everyone is. And so long as they've got valid points, I think it's fine. I think initially I was like, "Ooh," but now, or did we say it was? But now I'm a bit more sanguine about it. But I didn't like the one, I don't know if anyone saw on my Facebook page, the chap who'd done a review of The House of Hidden Secrets, and he'd said, "Oh, it's the usual jangling ovaries novel of a woman looking for love," or something like that. Apart from the fact that the book is nothing to do with that, I just thought it was a dreadful thing to say. It was just not good. So,
No.
because normally I don't moan, but I thought I'm moaning about that one.
Yeah, that seems a fair one to moan about. Have you ever pushed back on an editor then? You've never been like, "I'm not doing that. I'm not taking that Jenga piece out."
Yeah. Um, Yeah, look, but in fairness, most editors are willing to have a discussion about it. So I think if you do go back and say, "I'm not pulling that Jenga piece out," um, but I think as well, on the other hand, they normally tell you to pull it out because it's a good idea to pull it out. But sort of on in Truth Games, for example, my editor Anna, lovely, but she sort of said she wanted me to take out one of my like favorite twists, my favorite reveals, and I was a bit like, "But I don't really like that reveal." But in the end, she was lovely, because she's very much like, "I suggest," it wasn't "you have to," but she had a reason for suggesting that, and in the end we did a compromise, so I kept it in, but I slightly changed it, so that was okay. Yeah, but it can be, it takes, I think any authors who are here, that they know it can be a bit traumatic, and you can like get, cry a bit and all that sort of thing. But you do eventually get your head around it. It's just great to be published, so can't complain.
Daniel has said, and he's worded it really well. It's He says, "What he loves about your books is that they're slow burns, but then the twists and reveals are devastatingly precise, with deep emotional impacts for the characters and reader."
He's great, that Dan, isn't he? He's got such a good way with words. Thank you very much. Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, I suppose I don't know how to do it any other way than a bit of a slow build, and yeah, sort of. I've been writing because I've had a bit of a gap, and again, I think it's yeah. But I do like to, I like that devastatingly precise with deep emotional impact for the characters and the reader. Thank you. I'll take that. I'll write
That
it down.
needs putting on, like, the front of one of the books or something, doesn't it? As
Yeah.
a to, like, lure people in, because it is, like, that's true. It's so like, they're a book that they're kind of like that, they have that slow burn to start with, don't they? But they always leave you thinking at the end.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
always like,
Because that's yeah, I really like that like someone had put a review of The Attic on, I think, Amazon or maybe NetGalley or something, and this lady put, I keep thinking about it and I'm not even quite sure why, but I can't stop thinking about it. And I thought, well, yeah, job done. Thank you. That's great. If you can, your story can be there afterwards, and because I like that, don't you? When you watch a TV program or whatever, and you go to bed afterwards, and you're thinking, right, oh yeah, and you sort of still, you know, the afterburn, if you like. Yes, I want to give people an afterburn.
we draw up a sort of our 10 best books of the year every year for the book group.
Oh
With
right, yes,
our like author chat team, and we make a video of them. And often, like, the ones that for me end up being really high on that list are the ones that do that, are the ones that you've read, but you'll keep thinking back to,
yes, yeah,
and you'll keep going, oh, that was really, I still
yeah.
want to think about what actually that meant, or you know
Yeah. Well, like someone also put a review saying about the attic, that which might seem an odd thing to put for a crime book, but obviously crime is on that spectrum, isn't it? It said a must read for anyone who has a mother. And I thought, well, if everyone who has a mother buys it, I could get really good sales. But I thought it was a good point because it is that mother relationship, the actual mother relationship Ruth has with Joy, and the sort of surrogate relationship she has with Vanessa. And it is, yeah. And I thought that's a good thing. That was interesting that she put that. So
and it's interesting that it's a crime book, but it's not your traditional crime book,
no, I think
is
that's the
it?
thing
It's not
about
the
all. Yeah, I think that's all my. It's a tricky one, isn't it? And I think I've said it before, that when I first got published, I thought I was writing, I suppose, contemporary fiction with issues and suspense and, maybe some crime in the background, because it's not like a detective thing, or I've got a serial killer killing people on the page or anything. So I think I am a bit of a genre blend, but some people fortunately really like that. They like the characterization and they like the emotion, but they also like the crime elements and they like the psychological elements, which obviously they're very much psychological, and all that sort of, and the suspense and intrigue and finding out, unraveling the mystery as well. So it's all a funny blend, isn't it? And I think the umbrella of crime is huge because there are, both sides of it. Um, so fortunately, some people like both. I mean, I like both as well. I like the psychological side, and I also like the detective side. And I used to like the, Patricia Cornwell books, the cutting bodies and finding flies and things. And now I think, why did I like those? But where you knew how long someone was dead by the flies. Ooh.
no, I like books like that still. I've just read the book by Richard Shepherd about his life in pathology,
Oh right.
and that was brilliant. I was then trying to tell my husband about it and, like, had to edit it as I was telling him, because I was thinking he's not gonna wanna know about, like, these things being, like, whatever, like, degloved and things like that. Probably doesn't want all those facts that I just
But
read
it
him.
is really interesting. I mean, sort of like to do with how, the whole forensic side of that. Isn't it funny how we're all actually, there's such a demand about true crime, fictional crime, whatever. We are as human beings, we're all fascinated in it, aren't we? And the psychology. I love the psychology, but it's, yeah.
I think that's what draws people to sort of books like The Sinner or The Attic, that it's not necessarily about the crime in details, if you know what I mean. It's not about a police procedure or something like that, but it is kind of exploring sort of the different sides of human nature. And I think
Yes.
that's what makes people interested in crime.
Yes. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. I think, and also why it's all that question of why would someone do that sort of thing? What are we all capable of? You know, because different circumstances, isn't it? If you were put in a certain situation or whatever, who knows what we might do or have done. Yeah.
I like that you keep leaving mystery. Sam's told me not to tell her any pathology details next week.
I like it. Blur, that blur word.
And Leslie says she enjoys the genre fusion for variety.
Yeah, that's really good. It's I did a something or other with Louise Beach, and she called it genre fluid, which I thought was good. So I'm genre fluid.
That's yeah, because
It's good.
you're right. You was when you were saying it's like contemporary fiction with issues. Some of them fit more into that, like the attic at Wilton Place. I think will probably fit more into that in a way than
Yeah, but it's difficult, isn't it? Because what is that genre then? It's a really tricky one because obviously we have genres, don't we? Really, I suppose for the bookshops and whatnot. But to know where to file the book, and also I suppose to tell your audience what they might be reading. But it's really difficult, isn't it? Because it is suspense and psychological thrillers or psychological suspense or domestic noir. They're still all under the crime umbrella. So it's a tricky one. We need a new genre. Can anyone come up with a new genre name, please? And then we'll,
I
we'll
think
invent it.
if you think about it, we were talking about this at school the other day. If you think about it, music has every like there's more genres of music than you can think of, and people listen to numerous ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most people who read are probably very similar. You're going to go and sometimes for me, I think the bits where are interesting are where those boundaries in genres are blending.
It's a good analogy. Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
I don't think people who sell books to people are like, oh no, you've got to make all the crime covers look the same because people want to just go and buy crime or do this and that. And I think, well, actually, no, they probably don't. They probably want to go and explore and find, you
Yeah,
know,
I
a bunch
agree.
of things.
Yeah. And the cover thing is a bit frustrating. I think I've been really lucky with all my covers.
Yeah, yours are brilliant.
Yeah, I think they've been, all the sort of. I think they went for another blue one actually of this, but my because this is my fourth CE rose, and the first one was sort of mainly red. I don't know if it's there anywhere, and then the next two were sort of bluish, and it just worried me that the next one was initially blue as well. And I think when they're on together, when I've done events, people haven't known that there were different books, at first glance. So I'm glad the green. I think the green's nice for a change. Um, but a lot of books do have very, they went through the door phase. Are they out of the door phase now? I've got one of them with a door on, and it was like everyone had a door on the books. So be
One of
nice
my
if.
favourite book covers of last year was The Sinner.
Oh, it's good. I was really pleased with that because Anna gave me about eight, excuse me, 8 or 10 choices. But that was the one I immediately thought I liked that one. It was in a different colour to begin with. I think it might have been a pale green, but then she said, "Oh yeah," so that was fun. So yeah, I'm waiting for the cover for my next Caroline England one, and I can't wait. So I'm really excited. It's the best bit, the cover.
Does it make it feel more real or more tangible when you get the cover and like
I think
the
so. Yeah, I think because I think I've been nagging a bit. I keep going. Oh, how's the colour coming on? I bet they go. Oh, we should just go away and stop asking. It'll be there when it's there. But yeah, I think it is. I think it's sort of like you feel it's more real because I feel as I'm talking about this vague thing at the moment, and it's there on Amazon with just a I don't know what they do when there's no cover. So it'd be nice when it's more real. Yeah, definitely. And Yeah, because I mean, August felt a long way away, but actually it's only 4 months, and life just flies by, doesn't it? So
Yeah, it's not that far away, is it? Sam said it's the relationships, secrets and lies for her in your books that make it gripping.
yes, yeah, I know. Well, I am a bit obsessed, aren't I, with secrets and lies, and I think the other thing is, even though there are obviously the themes of secrets and lies, etc., in the books, I try and make the characters and the stories completely different. So I think, like with the attic, I've tried to go for a whole different story than the one before, which was The Shadows of Rutherford House. I mean, obviously, there's a common theme, and that was more the publishers that they wanted them sort of to be house based, whatever house. So this one obviously is in Belgravia, one of the gorgeous sort of terraces. That sounds as but not the right word, does it, for one of the crescents in Belgravia, as opposed to The Shadows was a stately home, and then the house on the water's edge was on the house on the Norfolk Broads, and then the first one was an old farmhouse. But I try and make the stories very different, different, even though, as Sam says, it's all a lot of secrets and lies and deception and things not being what they seem, and an undercurrent of, something isn't right here.
They are very different as well, aren't they?
Yes,
The
so
stories, like you were saying, because I've read The Attic and Shadows of Rutherford House, and they're very different stories.
yeah, yeah. So I try and go for something different each time, sort of thing, which is a challenge as well, isn't it? You're trying to, but I think it's because when I did my couple of short story collections, again in those, I tried to make each story really different, and yeah, so that was hopefully I succeeded.
So Sam would say that she's the bad influence. I think she agreed earlier. But I've utterly stolen this question that I'm going to ask you off air because I'm the worst. Um, if you were in the adaptation of The Attic of Wilton Place, what character would you play?
Oh, um, there aren't actually that many, are there? Because this is one where I've got a smaller cast of characters.
Yeah, it's a
So
really teeny cast of characters.
yeah, so because often a lot in the past people have gone, oh, like My Husband's Lies. I mean, obviously it did. I really personally like the story, but it did because it started at a wedding. There were a lot of people, and in fact, one of my daughters is listening to the audiobook at the moment now, saying, "I'm going, give it a bit of time. You'll soon get used to them." But anyway, going back to this, so yeah, there aren't that many. Um, yeah, because there's basically Ruth and her brother, her mum and dad, and then there's Vanessa, and then there's Sergio, and I quite like I can't remember what it's called now. What's the guy called she meets at university? Oh, Gus.
Oh, yeah.
Gus. Gus was quite. I mean, he doesn't make a massive appearance, but he's quite an interesting character because he's got a bit of a traumatic background as well. So yeah, I don't know because I suppose I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't. I'll go. I'll be Ruth when she gets. When she because she's on a journey, as I'm sure the viewers will understand, and that it's a a journey of discovery in lots of ways. And at the end of the journey, I'm not giving any spoilers, but maybe I could be there at the end. So I don't know.
I thought you'd have gone for glamorous Aunt Vanessa.
Well, yeah, again, but then there's her journey.
Yeah,
So without giving
not for the
spoilers.
journey, but you're a very glamorous lady.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah, it would be quite nice to. She speaks French fluently, and she's does all the movies in French in France, and but then she does a few like nude things in France and everything. So maybe not. Maybe like a few years ago.
It keeps going back to when we were talking about you filming you as an author, isn't it?
Is it? Sorry, I can hear people making noise out there. Sorry, it's because the screen is frozen, so that's why I'm sort of leaning forward. I'm trying to hear what you're saying because I can't see you. It's easier when you see someone ask questions. So has your screen frozen?
No, it has not. No.
Oh right, and you and I are frozen there, so I don't know really what's going on.
Well,
So
no. Well, Donna has said she loves our new question about who you'd play in the book.
yeah, oh, it
Um,
is a good question. Yeah, steal it, Donna. Good question.
well, I stole it off Sam, so I can't. I've got no moral high ground in this.
Yeah. It is a good question, though. I have to remember that. Yeah, next time. Oh, now I know the questions there. I have to write a character I want to be.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's like manifesting, isn't it? I'm gonna manifest a really successful author who, you know, gets lots of sales. That's the next book.
And then act as it in the Apple TV adaptation or the Netflix one.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, yeah.
Mel asked, and my current favourite question is very similar to what Mel asked. What have you read recently that you've loved?
Right. Well, I'm prepared for that because you asked me it last time, and I'm always like, oh, I don't know. But because Crime Fest is coming and I'm on the panel, I know what I've read. I've read The Ugly Truth. Has anyone read that? I think this is like a proof copy by Elsie North. And I think this is it's Laurie, and she's, I think, writes under another name as well. But this was really interesting, very different. So I really enjoyed that. So she's on my panel. So I've read that one. I don't know if anyone else. I think it came out in hardback. I think a couple of weeks ago. And how nice would it be to get a hardback book? Another thing I'm manifesting. And then the next person on the panel was this one, Chris Curran, and When the Lights Go Out. And I enjoyed that as well. That was a mystery. And that had, I think maybe Chris has an acting background because it's about a group of actors and all sorts of things are going on behind the scenes. So I enjoyed that. Then I'm currently reading a Ros Watkins book, and I think it's a proof copy. Not sure when it's out, but so far, but I love all her books. She writes, but she's such a good writer, immediately engaging, beautifully written. She somehow writes things very simply, but really just so well as well. And then
And
the
so
next one,
eerie in times as well, aren't they? Ros
sorry,
Watkins. Her books
yes,
are like super creepy in places as well.
yeah, they are. But this one, she's done them before with her detective in, who's quite a feisty detective, isn't she? And I loved all those. But this, so far anyway, I think it's a standalone psychological thriller. So, and she's had a gap of about 2 years where she's not had a book out. So I'm not that far in, but really enjoying it so far, really intrigued. And then on my Crime Fest panel, the next person is and it came today, so I'm looking forward to reading this. If anyone's read it, The Good Patient by Alex Stone. So that's going to be next. And then our moderator is B.A. Paris. So woo, good panel.
It is.
Yeah, so I've got
Abby Frost is Chris Curran. Chris
sorry.
Curran. Chris Curran also writes as Abby Frost and has
Right.
some kind of quite gothic, housey books as well
Oh right. Oh, well, I'll be able to have a good natter with her about that. Yeah,
that are
great.
really good.
Yeah.
Sam has just said that that's going to be an amazing panel.
Yeah, I think it is because B.A. Paris was initially one of us panelists, and they did come back to me and said, "Would you mind being the moderator?" And I thought it's so much more hard work to be a moderator, and also you just fret a lot more. It's not as relaxing as enjoyable. So I sort of went, "I'd like to help you out, but no." And then obviously Bernadette must have said, "Oh, go on, I'll do it." So, and I've met her before, and she's really lovely as well. So I'm looking forward to reading her next one. I don't know if it's out yet because I've not received anything in the post. So look forward to that.
Donna has said that she can't wait to see you in Bristol. It's going to be her first time
Oh,
crime.
Donna! Brilliant. Oh, how lovely. I'm so pleased. That'd be great. Are you staying in the main hotel, Donna, or somewhere else?
We'll wait for the answer.
Yeah.
She said you should also just give yourself a random cameo in all your books. You could like Alfred Hitchcock yourself into all of the adaptations
I
and just
think so.
appear in the background.
Or I could just wait for the movie of each book and just then do
Yeah, just appear somewhere. There's one what was it? Oh, the movie of Twilight has the author in the cafe.
Well, it's nice, that, isn't it? I think it must be lovely to, because I know the Jack Reacher books. He made a little appearance, I think, in the maybe one of the Tom Cruise films. Because I went, "That's him," to Jonathan, my husband. That's him. Look, and I think maybe Mark Billingham's been in some of his adaptations. I think, I don't know, but yeah. Oh, Main Hotel, great, Donna. See you there. I'm not in the Main Hotel, but I'm in the one just down the road. So I won't let you escape.
Apparently, when he was in the Tom Cruise movies, they had to make Lee Child be sat down because he's so tall.
He is, because he is tall, isn't he? Yeah, yeah. Very tall and very slim. So yeah,
Not met him in real life.
yeah. IRL.
Yeah, I haven't. But I live with someone who's very tall, so I'm quite used to like my judgment of very tall is a bit out of whack.
Doesn't give you a bad neck though.
It
No, that's
really
a
does.
personal question. Why did I ask that?
Yeah, no, it does, and it makes my mum is like she's about 4'10" now, but my mum is about 5 foot tall. So our wedding pictures are really interesting as well because there's a massive height difference.
Well, I've got quite a tall husband as well. My husband's about 6'3", and it's fine. But sometimes when you're holding hands, just you do it occasionally because you have to. But that your arms are at the wrong thing, and it ends up like pulling my shoulder. So the things we talk about on these, and how did we get onto
Oh,
that?
weird. I don't know. Mine, we went somewhere and I said we could dance together, and he was like, there's too big a height difference." And I said I can wear heels, and he was like, "The world's not ready for that."
Yeah, gosh, they would be really high heels.
Yeah.
Ah, see what Sam's put.
I
He's
know.
very tall and an absolute delight.
He is
Oh,
both
that's
of
nice.
those things, I would agree. He does all of our, do you know all of our event posters? He does all of our event, like,
Oh,
things and stuff like that for us.
oh, lovely, brilliant.
And I think Donna was saying that Lee Child will be at Harrogate, but I
Oh,
don't know.
Willie, I don't know, because I sort of yeah, I think, well, it's usually generally the sort of samey type of people that everyone loves to see, so it must be, I wonder, it must be tough actually if you're that popular, don't you think, if you Lee Child or any of the big names, because when you do talks and people chat to you, I bet you feel you need to try and come up with something different than just give the same answers. Because even something like this, because you've really kindly invited me on a few times, and I just feel, I bet people are fed up of hearing me say that. But if you're a big star, it must be tough to say something different. But then maybe people don't care; they're just happy to listen to the same thing again.
I don't know. I know when I interviewed Peter Robinson, they said, you know how some people ask for questions in advance?
Yeah.
They said that he absolutely really didn't like them in advance because then he felt like he knew what everything was gonna happen, if you know what I mean. He quite liked to
Yeah.
be surprised.
Yeah, it is better. It's more, yeah, I think it is better rather than rehearsed. And also I think you can start, if you're asked questions beforehand, you can start fretting about them and thinking, I don't know, rather than just say I don't know, you know, live, so to speak.
Uh, Sam said, "How are you balancing 2 books a year? You're writing one at a time or juggling?"
Well, I guess up until I mean, I do still have a little bit of a backlog of books that I'd already written. So the moral of the story is, even if you're not published, just write and write and write. So you've got a bit of a backlog. Um, but because last year I feel as though I was really, really busy doing the edits on this book, The Attic, and my next Little Brown book. But then by about November, I had a bit of a gap. So I thought, just start something new. So I did something new between say November and January, and then I've started something else new now. So I'm really glad I've got, it's probably rubbish, it's probably drivel, but I'm glad I've got something under my belt. So yeah, so I could now, if they were any good, I could do another two say next year if they're any good, but who knows.
Do you ever start something new like that, go back to it and then go no, and sort of put it away, never to see the light of day again, or does everything you start end up being something new?
Well, I think I just hate waste. So I personally think you can mold and manipulate something and make it better than it is. If it is not good enough as it stands, I think at least you try and. But having said that, I do have a backlog of about say 4 books that have never been used so far, and I would love to try and turn them into something. And one of them I think is very good, but I think yeah. So maybe it could come out, as a book in the future. Um, and then one of them was more, I suppose, contemporary. And my agent at the time loved it, and she said, "I am going to see this book published," but it never got taken. So yeah, who knows? But I don't want to waste them. It'd be nice. I feel as though I'd even like to go back to that one and maybe make it a bit more, psyche it up a bit more. But it's just a sort of sad love story, really, I suppose. But it all comes good in the end, type of thing. But yeah, I'm confusing everyone with genre, so I don't want to put that in the mix.
Sam and Donna have said they can't imagine anything you write is drivel.
Oh, thank you.
Sam is
Yeah, just
proving
wait.
that Sam's proving she's a good guy in the relationship because she said she doesn't ask she doesn't give questions in advance, but she does always ask authors to have a think about what they've enjoyed reading recently, because otherwise
Yeah,
it can throw them. I
yeah,
never pre-warn people that I'm gonna ask that question because I'm just
yeah.
evil apparently.
Yeah, no, I've been there, Sam. I've been the deer in the headlights, thinking, "What?" And sometimes you read stuff and you just can't remember. But that's why I was prepared this time. I thought I have read some, and I do go for a long bit. I love reading, but I think when you really, I feel as though when I'm first writing, um, rather than editing, I think it just spoil the flow just doesn't work if I read at the same time. So yeah, so I don't read as much as I'd like to. Donna's saying, "I love the deer in the headlights." Ah!
It's fun apparently.
Yeah, you're
Um,
mean. You're mean. You are, Donna and Kaz.
we try not to be. Um, but yeah, so finish off. We've got 3 minutes left.
Oh God, how did that happen?
I know it's just flown by. So finish us off. Show us the books that people are going to go and buy.
Right. Well, I've not got all my books here, but this is the latest one, The Attic at Wilton Place. So it's
And it's very
available.
good.
Yeah, it's available on obviously Amazon, and it's available at the Works at the moment, as long as stocks last. I don't know how long. I don't think it's in every work store, but it's in a few. So if you're lucky, you can get a bargain. And I think it's in the Works online at the moment, even though last week they said they issued it early and it'd run out, but I think they've got more stock in. So, or bookshops, you can go to a bookshop and order it. And then obviously there's all my other C.E. Rose books. I've got 3 more C.E. Rose books, all standalone, and I've got, how many Caroline England books have I got? 5 Caroline England books as well. And so you could just look it up, my name on Amazon, or look at my website, or that type of thing.
And 2 Carol Land books as well. Don't forget those.
Yes, although I don't think you'd be able to get hold of those anymore. I think they've sort of run out now of stock. So I think I do have some copies. So you'd have to have a quiet word with me. So yeah.
And
Oh,
then,
thank you.
yeah, we need to say thank you. Sam has said thank you both so much. She loves it when Kaz and Caroline get
Oh,
together.
thank you. So thank you for having me. It's been
You're
it's
more
just
than
flown.
welcome.
Thank you.
It has really flown,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
And it's such a
Um,
brilliant group, and it really is so lovely and warm and fun and interesting. So thank you for having me.
Oh, and Sam says she'd very much like to add some Natalie Beck signed books to her satchel.
Oh, right. Well, we'll have to sort that out.
Well, you're not far away from each other.
That's
So,
true. Absolutely.
and then everyone else has said thank you as well.
All right. Thank you very much. And thanks for everyone who's tuned in.